Okay, nice to meet you everyone for this lunch seminar. I'm Matilda, I'm a PhD student here at KI, and I will share with you some of the experiences I've had during my path from being an undergrad student to being a PhD student and almost finishing. Actually, I will defend my thesis this fall as it is planned, currently at least. So I will speak about three things: the driving force, having patience, and having courage. And I will do that with a few pictures. This is me. This was my driving force. I was a medical student studying here at KI, doing my clinical education at hospitals here in Stockholm. And this is me in the middle of the night in the autumn. I'm at a delivery department and was supposed to see like normal deliveries, but I find myself reading my book in the coffee room instead, because it was really difficult to get in contact with like midwives and getting the opportunity to see live births. I did that as well, but sometimes I find myself here in the room. So this was my driving force, that I had a practical problem, how our clinical education pursued, and I wanted to know more about that. So that became my PhD project, to learn more about how clinical education are executed and how it can be improved. I was fortunate, really, to be able to do research about what I really found interesting. You're not always that fortunate as a PhD student, but I want to say to you today that this is really important. Doing a PhD is tough, but when you have a driving force, a passion in some way, it might not be for the exact project that you are doing, but it will be for the subject in some way, for research or science in general. But you need to have something that will keep you going from one day to another, from month to month, or from 1 year to another. So I want you to find your passion and to see what you want to contribute with to the scientific community. At struggling days, you can always lean back on your passion, and that will, I think that will be a really important thing for all PhD students. This was my pathway. I started here in 2008. I became a medical student. That had been my dream then for quite many years. And then I went on doing my degree project in 2011 as part of the medical program. And then I finished in 2014. It seems very linear, but I messed it up with doing doctoral research at the same time. So I became a doctoral student here in 2012 or something. After my degree project, I've planned to defend my thesis here this fall. And it all looks very planned and linear, but this is really how it has been for me. Entering med school means that you study a lot, that you really don't have any time or energy to focus on anything else. In my case, I was not really even aware that you could do a PhD. My background is not academic at all, but I learned along the way. I had fellow students who did research or had been doing a PhD for many years previously. And I was kind of here somewhere. I got to know a few people who was doing research in the field of research that I went on doing my project in. And I did my degree project in education. And then comes a rough time for me doing my path, when I was trying to do them both simultaneously. So I was a full-time student at the medical program, and at the same time a doctoral student, or applied and became a doctoral student. I was really busy here, so I came to the decision to take a break and leave from the medical program and focus on doctoral research only for a while, and that was really good for me. And then I went back and finished and took my degree, and now since the last 2 years I've been doing full-time research. And I think when you're a clinician, I know some of you are, It's kind of easy to be in a hurry and to want to take the next step in your clinical career all the time. But I've been having a supervisor that has been really good for me, who's been telling me to have patience and to take it easy and to focus on the research and my PhD projects when I have the opportunity. So I've been here now for quite a while. So now I've been working a little bit clinically and plan to finish, and then we'll see in which pathway I will spend most time in the future. But what I want to say to you is that having patience is good. Not everything has to be done now, not everything has to be done in the next year. You can finish your master now. You can go out and work 10 years, come back to the university and do a PhD then. You can like pause your clinical career pathway for a while and do only research. So it might seem and look like I've been doing all of this in like only a few years, but the pathway in reality is usually way more complicated. And the last thing I would like to say is for you to have courage. I Googled like a PhD student, and this is one of the first pictures that that comes up on Google. Because it feels like this sometimes. Bob mentioned it previously that being a PhD student is tough. You need to manage your own projects. You need to manage your supervisor, it feels like sometimes at least. So you need to have some courage, and you need to understand that this is something else than doing a master. It's something else than being an undergraduate student. When you're an undergraduate or a master student, you just jump on the train and then you follow the train, the way the train will go. There's a time schedule for everything. You have assignments to live in, you have exams to pass. But as a PhD student, you are really responsible for your own projects. You're responsible for your own learning process. Even if you have supervisors to support you and to help you focus on things, you really need to be driving your projects by yourself. And that will also mean that you will learn a lot of other things, as Bob mentioned, that you cannot learn from a master program. And it will be worth the effort, but it's definitely something else than doing a master. And I think this is kind of similar to the island that Bob showed previously, that doing a PhD is really ups and downs in motivation and in enthusiasm. One of my PhD supervisors, he warned me when I started that sometimes along the way you will have a PhD depression. Everyone will get it. A time when you are sick of your supervisors, when you're sick of your project, when you're sick of everything and just want to leave. But just know that that is normal. And that has been really good to me, to know that it's not really all days that I feel like I have a passion for what I'm doing, or I feel like going to work, or I feel like sitting down and write on my manuscript. But this is more the way it goes, ups and downs. But if you do take on the challenge to do a PhD, it's really rewarding. This is a work cloud from my own project, and you can really do things and feel like you have been able and that you have been succeeded. You can publish papers and feel like the kind of like the proudest and most successful person in the world, at least of the day of acceptance. You can get to know a lot of people that you didn't have had the opportunity to get to know else. And you can go on conferences and present your work, not only mingling, do the social stuff, but also, even as a junior, you can actually attend the conference and take part in the scientific contributions there. So, having said this, I hope that I have been giving you a kind of realistic, but also kind of an enthusiastic picture of how it could be to be a PhD student. And if it won't be now, I definitely hope for all of you that it will be somewhere along your career path. Thank you so much.